people. So Hearprotek have reached out to me and asked me if I'd like to review some of their products. And full disclaimer, they've sent me these items and I've no affiliation with the company. I'm under no obligation to say nice things about their products, and I do get to keep them after the test. But with that said, they've sent me some earplugs for motorcycle use. They've sent me some earplugs for sleeping in. And they've also sent me some waterproof moldable earplugs as well, for good measure. So let's begin with the ones that my audience are probably most interested in, is the motorcycle ones. So these are the motorcycle earplugs. They're made of quite kind of soft, squidgy silicone with a little hard center, which is the sound deadening. And they come with this rubberized cord, which is pretty easy to kind of fit on. And I used them on a couple of rides, and in fact I wore them yesterday on a ride which was about 250 miles in total, riding for about an hour and then stopping for like 10-15 minute rest, and then riding another hour. So kind of 1 hour hops in these items. Now typically in my normal riding gear I have custom made earplugs. So you go to an audiologist, they pour the mold in your ear and you send them away to be built, to be molded, and they send you them back on a fitted cord. Now that's going to cost you north of $100 to do that. And is that a good investment? In my experience, generally yes, but you do have to be very careful, because I know a few people, and I myself have had earplugs molded and they've not been comfortable. So everybody gets a bit obsessed with how much clean the wind noise, or how many dB reduction you get with the earplugs. But in my experience, the most important thing is comfort, because if they're not comfortable, you just won't wear them. It's as simple as that. And I think in terms of a bespoke fit molded in the ear by an audiologist, if you can get a comfortable set and you look after them, it's worthwhile doing that. But it's going to cost you a lot of money, over $100. And if you're susceptible to losing your earplugs, or you don't want to spend that much money or risk that much money, there are obviously alternatives. Now, many people use the soft foam kind of roll up, stick it in, cheap and cheerful earplugs, and some people get on with those, some people don't. I tend to think they're very distinctly average for me. As they expand, they're not always the most comfortable thing, and they seem to pick up dirt pretty easily and stuff. But other options are available, and this is one option, of course, from Hearprotek, and these retail for about $18. So it's not exactly a massive investment. $18 plus your tax and postage, probably to your door for like $25 or something, and that's pretty reasonable, fair value for money. They do come with two different insert sizes as well, so hopefully one of those fits your ear quite well. They've got these little kind of sticky out plug bits here for pulling it out your ear quite easily, and as I say, it comes on a cord, so it's easy to kind of hook the cord on your, I tend to put mine on my master cylinder when I get off the bike, and just drape them on my tank, and then they're kind of in my vision when I come back to the bike, and I can just put them on quite easily. Totally washable, so that's kind of nice. Nothing worse than grubby earplugs that you can't wash. And I do like the cord being rubberized for that aspect as well, so it's easy to wash the cord as well. Now, generally, I find, in my personal experience, that using kind of cheap, for want of a better expression, earplugs are just not for me. They don't feel comfortable, they always don't fit right, and they usually don't work in terms of reducing any kind of wind noise, or and I just get fed up with them, and I end up going back to my custom made set. And you know, as I say, it's a good option if you're willing to spend that kind of money, you're a serious motorcyclist and you'll look after them. But many people, they just don't want to spend that kind of money, and I do know more than one person that's had them done and doesn't really like them. So what was my experience with these? Well, I was pleasantly surprised, to be honest. I was pretty pleased overall. I would say that in terms of noise reduction, it wasn't quite as good as I was hoping, so it didn't block out quite as much noise. But having said that, I generally wear the custom fit earplugs, and you're never going to get better noise reduction wise than custom fit, obviously, because they pull the moulding directly into your ear. It's a perfect fit, whereas everything else is a squeeze fit. However, what I did like in that respect was that the surrounding noise when I was riding, in terms of hearing other vehicles, and also how clear I could hear the rest of my riding friends through my intercom, was actually better. So I didn't struggle so much. Normally I'm usually turning my intercom up and down quite a bit, just to get the volume right so that I can hear them clearly. And particularly when you're switching roads, you know, you might be at freeway speeds doing, you know, 70, 80 miles an hour, whatever, and then you get on side roads and you're doing 30, 40. So I'm often playing with the sound on my Cardo intercom system. This gave me pretty good clarity in terms of the intercom, and listening to music as well, which is always very nice. So I could hear particularly clearly, and I was pretty pleased about that. As I say, not quite as wind reducing as custom fit, but pretty good. You know, obviously much better than not having them. And people tend to think it's the, like, you know, the roar of the engine and the noise of the traffic and stuff that damages your ear. It's not. It's the wind flow. It's the noise of the wind rushing past you. And doesn't matter what age you are, you really do need to protect your ears. But particularly ask anybody in their 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, should you wear earplugs? They will tell you absolutely you should, because suddenly you start paying the price when you're 50, 60, 70 in terms of hearing loss if you haven't been wearing these particularly. And you only really need one bad incident in that age group where you're getting a lot of loud noise in one of your ears, and suddenly you will have hearing loss, and it'll probably be permanent, unfortunately. So that's cheap insurance in that respect. The other thing that was really pleasing was the comfort. I usually do not get on with you know, these type of earplugs, but I really did like these. They were very soft, very comfortable. They weren't hard to push into my ear, and they didn't expand uncomfortably, and they weren't loose. You know, they weren't kind of falling out, or I didn't feel like one was fully in, the other one was coming out all the time. I was able to get a pretty consistent fit, and as I say, you know, typically on my rides, I'm taking my helmet off and removing these and putting them back in several times in the day, because I tend to ride long days. And I found these were very good in the whole. So I would say that as a motorcyclist, if you would like to try some kind of silicone type ear protection, you don't want to spend the earth, and you want something that's comfortable, which is very key. And perhaps you like the idea of earplugs, don't currently wear them, but don't want to block out too much sound because you like to hear the traffic, or you like to hear your music on the intercom, or your friends talking through it, then I think it's a very worthwhile investment. And I think particularly for the money, you just can't go wrong trying that. So that is the motorcycle earplugs from Hearprotek, recommended. Our next product is the memory foam tip sleeping earplugs, And personally, I don't normally wear earplugs for sleeping. I don't have any problem falling asleep and staying asleep in the main. But I think for people that have partners that snore, or perhaps you have, you know, you live in a neighbourhood where there's a lot of noise, perhaps you live near a train station, or you move near an airport, or there's construction work going on, something like that, I think there would be a major benefit. And one area where I can never sleep is actually on an aeroplane, and I think that it would be particularly good for that. So I have tried these, and they are comfortable to wear, and they do block out a reasonable amount of noise. And so I think if you want a reasonable priced earplug, and I think well, actually Hearprotek do a range of kind of sleeping earplugs between about $18 to $26, depending on what style you want and how much decibel reduction you're kind of looking for. But in the main, they're comfortable, they block out a reasonable amount of sound, and I found them comfortable to sleep in, even though they're not something that I normally wear, so my body's not really accustomed to it. But I am looking forward to using these the next time I have an international flight and I'm flying overnight, and I always, you know, come in on the red eye and I've had no sleep, and that's not good if you're working, or even if you're on vacation, right, because it takes you like a day or so to recover. And again, in that respect, value for money. If you get a good night's sleep on a plane, or you know, you've been having trouble sleeping for whatever reason, and these help you sleep, you've only got to get one good night's sleep and they kind of pay for themselves already. So again, a no-brainer if you want to try the sleep earplugs. The final product are the silicone moldable earplugs. Ultra soft, and these are really designed I guess for, you know, it could be used for sleeping, but they are waterproof, so ideal for wearing while swimming, and you could use them for other uses as well. Now, if you've ever had an ear infection, you know how dizzy that can make you and how ill that can make you. So if you'd like to swim a lot in public pools, probably a good thing to try. I found them very soft, very malleable, very squidgy, very easy to put in your ears, and because they're flexible, you do get a very, very good fit, and that's very good in terms of noise reduction, and also keeping the water out if you've got sensitive ears and you want to ensure that you don't get an ear infection. What I found them particularly useful for actually is going to the range. So if you like to practice target shooting at an indoor range, I'm very careful about protecting my hearing. It's very important to me, and although I wear over the head earmuff protectors, I always like to wear an additional set of in-ear protectors as well, so I'm double protected when I shoot at the range. I think it's very important. I wish more people would do that, because obviously shooting is a very loud sport, and I found it particularly useful for that because they fit in the ear very comfortably. They're very moldable. They're actually typically very good value for money. I can't seem to find them on their website for some reason, but usually they're at a very good price point, and you know, they come in a pack with several in them. They're reusable, but after a while you'll probably you know, want to throw them away. They'll get a bit grubby, and you can't clean them like so easily like the motorcycle earplugs, for instance. So in that respect, you have to kind of periodically replace them at some point, but they are kind of versatile in terms of, you know, you could use it for a whole host of reasons. I know somebody that uses a similar plug on their motorcycle and loved that because it's very custom, very bespoke. and they'll use them a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, and then they'll throw them, and you know, they're in a pack of 10 or whatever, so they're happy with the continual cost of that. So you could use them on a motorcycle. They're definitely good if you're swimming in the sea or a public you know, swimming pool and you want to protect your hearing a bit. They'd be good at you know, an outdoor music concert, particularly for kids or something, firework display, that kind of thing. And for me personally, I found it a good use as a second set of hearing protectors for shooting at the range. So again, not expensive and available from the same company. So Hearprotek, as in here, Protek, Hearprotek. They obviously have their own website with a multitude of products on there for you to peruse. I'll put a link in the description below, and I would say check them out because they've been around a while. I've got a good varied selection of products, and the ones that I've tried at least work pretty well, and they're at a very keen price point, so I think well worthwhile trying them out. Most people on my YouTube channel are here because of motorcycling, and in terms of the motorcycle earplugs, I would say yeah, definitely give them a go. I think it's really good value for money, and I think you'll probably get on okay with them. They're not the most quietest earplugs, but I'm used to using custom-made ones, as I mentioned, so the decibel reduction is a little bit more, and if you really want to reduce the sound significantly, that's the way to go, but it is at a cost. If you just want to reduce the sound of the rushing wind a bit, and you still want the clarity of hearing cars around you and your intercom and music and talking to people through that, and you want something that's comfortable and will last a good while, it's reusable, washable, and yeah, let's face it, if you lost them, it wouldn't actually be the end of the world in terms of cost to replace them. Yeah, good value for money. So thanks again to Hearprotek for sending me these products. As I say, I'm under no obligation to say they're good, bad or indifferent, but on the whole I think they work well and they're at a very keen price point, so check them out on the web. Alright, ride often, ride careful, ride on.
Hey you, if you want to become one of the Ride On people, don't forget to subscribe. Ride often, ride carefully, ride on.